You're gonna take 2 bath towels, and I'm gonna show you how I want you to roll that up. We're not looking for really big rolls. We're looking for, when we roll this up, it's about the circumference of whatever your grip is. That'll be appropriate for this. So we're gonna roll up 2 bath towels to about the same level of thickness. You're gonna place one of these towels right underneath your neck, right here. So think of wherever that throat is. You're gonna place it right below that throat. And then the other towel is gonna be right underneath your back. So if you lift your hips up and you place this roll right underneath your back, a great way to do this is to find where your belly button is, and directly below your belly button is where the second roll is gonna be. So just in this position, we've got 2 rolls that are supporting the forward curves of our spine. Notice how one roll is below the neck, one roll is below the lumbar spine. From here, let's take a strap and we're gonna strap up the legs. Strap is gonna go just above the knee and feet come back down to the ground. So we're basically in our triangle position. And from here, let's go a little bit wider with our arm position. A little wider arms is gonna help those shoulders come a little bit flatter down to the ground. Now we've got this for 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and start my timer. Over the next 10 minutes, I want you to just press outward on this strap. And it's not pulsing on and off, it's just one long, consistent press out. And breathe. This is a long position. It's called the glute conversation because for the next 10 minutes, the entire intention and focus is gonna be you teaching your nervous system, your brain, how to hold a conversation with your glutes, the muscles that propel you forwards, the muscles that stabilize your pelvis and spine. And this is you just rediscovering what that conversation's like. If there's great glute function, you're gonna feel both sides of your hips work, and that's all the work is, and it's even, and it's balanced, and it's easy. Some of you might not find this work anywhere in your glutes. Some of you might find the outer left shin really starting to work hard. Some of you might wonder why your right shoulder is trying to roll off the ground. We are just trying to find basic glute function. And if your glutes haven't worked for quite some time, what you're gonna experience is whatever muscle group that you've taught to make up for the idea that the glutes don't work, that's gonna chime in. And that's why this exercise is 10 minutes long, so you can have enough time to unwind whatever else wants to chime in and give your body enough time, your nervous system enough time for the right muscles to start showing up, which are the outer hips and your glutes. You also might feel some of the inner hips, the hip flexors too, because no muscle works in isolation, but the primary goal is that outer hip. Now, I've got towels in this exercise to help support the spine position. Some of you who might have a really arched lower back and a really arched neck, you would know that if your gaze is always looking upwards. Maybe you might want to explore this exercise without props, right? Without the towels, to allow your spine to settle to the floor. But I've found over the years working with people, this is probably one of the best ways that people need to do this is with towels to reestablish the 3 curves of the spine and to give your body with those 3 curves, give your body some time. Also make sure that both feet are pointing straight ahead. So what I want you to do is kick your heels just a little wider. Great. And remember to keep the tension on the strap the entire time. Why don't you take a couple deep, slow breaths? Let's not forcibly inhale and exhale. Just a really slow, subtle breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Remind your body that your hips and pelvis can work and you can breathe at the same time. It doesn't need to be an either or experience. And when you feel like you've got the breath down and that's happening, and you can feel like you can press outward on the strap, that could be all you can do, but we're gonna go just one level deeper. So what I'd like you to do right now is place both hands on your pelvis and let's make sure that one hip isn't higher than the other, because we don't want to go stabilize the pelvis and spine with one hip being higher than the other. So while we're here, let's pass the time and just kind of feel around for where your pelvis is. And once you feel where this bone is, you got these pointy little bones in the front of your pelvis that go all the way to your lower back. Then take your thumbs, and I want you to kind of poke around for where the bottom of your rib cage is. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get a sense of, is there equal spacing between your ribs and your pelvis right now? Or does one side feel really jammed and closer towards one side of the ribs and the other side has a ton of space? If that's you in this position, gently press that pelvis that's higher up, just a little further away, create a little bit more space, because I want you to have a stable, level pelvis throughout the next 5.5 minutes. And you might need to kind of go back and forth, just taking a minute to have your arms open up and have those shoulders settle to the ground, and then just making sure that that hip hike didn't come back, and then coming back down to the ground again. And you'll find a pace that's good for you to make sure that that pelvis stays in place. The most important thing, once we have those basic cues, remember breathing, keeping the strap tight, the pelvis is level. The most important thing now is about what you're thinking about. If you have imbalance, you will feel one hip work different than the other. But put some space between that, because that doesn't mean now go try to find the hip that you don't feel. I trust that you're in the right position. I trust that everything is aligned. The strap is keeping both legs in the same position. If you're experiencing one hip work different than the other, this is you asking both hips to work together and them not being able to do so. So I don't want you to go manipulate how you're doing this exercise just to feel balanced. Trust that your body, given enough time in this position, will start to be able to load both hips the same. What you're experiencing is that not happening, and that's okay. If you have years or decades of imbalance and improper movement patterns, and your glutes have been affected, which, let's face it, most people are, it would be weird to do this exercise your first couple times and feel really great glute engagement. You're gonna feel all of the weird ways, the funky ways that your body has had to help you move without your glutes being able to support you. And the body has a couple really special tricks up its sleeve. When we experience pain or when there's an injury, one of the first things that happens is we shut down glute function as a means to heal ourselves. The largest, most powerful muscles in our body, our nervous system actually suppresses signals to them in an attempt to prevent us from moving. And this helps us heal a little bit faster. But the problem lies is that our body doesn't reverse this process well. So when our glutes shut down, if we sprain an ankle or throw out our back, they don't just come on randomly. There has to be time spent working to reestablish this connection. Make sure you're breathing. There's nothing for you to do outside of your legs just pressing outward on that strap. If you feel your core start to tighten up, that's a great way for you to understand compensation. We're here trying to talk to your glutes, and you're having other muscles chime in. Remind yourself to relax any other muscle group that wants to help out. Some of you might feel that lower back start to tighten and arch. Remind it to relax. This is about the glutes. Nothing else needs to chime in here. You've got about 1.5 minutes left. Great job so far. Let's keep the pressure even on the feet. We're not trying to roll the ankles outward. The foot stays calm and flat as the hips stabilize. Probably one of my favorite exercises because we're not introducing any variable of motion. This is you just sitting with how your nervous system communicates with your muscular system. And this makes it really hard to cheat, makes it really hard to compensate. We have to deal with glute function in some way, shape, or form over these 10 minutes. And by reducing all of the other ways people try to find glutes, either by doing clamshells or trying to move one leg instead of the other, by reducing all of that, we purely find that glute function. And we're coming up on 10 minutes. Great job with this. Go ahead and get out of it. Relax the strap. You can stay longer if you want, but I think 10 minutes is a great place to start.